أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We'll begin from ayah number 82. لَتَجِدَنَّ أَشَدَّ النَّاسِ عَدَاوَةً. You will surely find the most intense of the people in animosity. لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, toward the believers. Who are they? They are الْيَهُودَ وَالَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا. You will find them to be the Jews and those people who associate others with Allah, the polytheists. You will find these people as most intense in their animosity, in their hatred against the Muslims. And on the other hand, وَلَا تَجِدَنَّ, and surely you will definitely find أَقْرَبَهُمْ مَوَدَّةً, the nearest of them in affection. To who? لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, to those people who believe are who? الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّا نَصَارَى, are those people who say, we are Christians. So, the people who are most severe in their animosity towards the Muslims are who? The Jews and the mushrikeen. And those who are closest to the Muslims in affection are who? The Christians. Why? The reasons are mentioned in the following ayat. لا تجدن. تجدن is from the root letters waw, jim, dal, wujud. And what does wujud mean? Existence. Wajada, yajidu is to find something. To find. To meet. So, لَتَجِدَنَّ, surely you will definitely find. Who does you refer to? It refers to, yes, the Prophet ﷺ, but after him, this address is general. So basically, it refers to any person, any listener. Why? Because anyone can see this and anyone can bear witness to this fact. That definitely you're going to find out that أَشَدَّ النَّاسِ, the most intense of mankind, of people, meaning those people who are most intense in their adawatan, in their enmity. Adawa is from the root letters ayn, dal, waw. And as you know, adawa is the opposite of wilaya. And baghda is the opposite of hub, or would, love. So adawatan is the opposite of wilaya. And what is wilaya? Friendship. So adawa is enmity. In wilaya, a person shows his friendship to the other, his loyalty to the other, through his words, through his actions, through his cooperation. And in adawa, a person shows his hatred. How? Through his words as well as through his actions. So basically, adawa is a hatred that is in the person as a result of which he treats the other with aversion, or he treats the other with harm, or he cuts off from them. It's such hatred that a person shows through his words, through his actions. He treats the other with aversion, he harms the other, and he cuts off from him. This is what adawa is. So you will find those people who are most intense in their adawa against the believers are who? Al-Yahud, first of all, and secondly, وَالَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا. Now remember that over here, when this is mentioned that the Jews and the mushrikeen are worst in their animosity towards the Muslims, this is in the general sense. Meaning, the Jews on an average, meaning as a group of people, as a nation, or the mushrikeen as a nation, generally, you will find this. It gives a sense of umum. However, there are always exceptions. For instance, a Jewish man who was very nice towards the Muslims, maybe you have a friend, maybe you have a boss, and you find them very good. They're very tolerant, they're very accepting, they're very generous, they're very good towards you. They let you practice your religion, so you're going to say, oh my God, what this says in the Quran is untrue. No. What is meant over here is that on the whole, in general. Just as, for example, generally, men are stronger than women. But you will always find a woman who is more strong, physically, mentally, in other ways as well. So there are always exceptions. And we see that the Prophet ﷺ, yes, he faced a lot of animosity, a lot of opposition from the Jews as well as the mushrikeen, but still, there were some people from the mushrikeen who helped the Prophet ﷺ as well. For instance, Abu Talib. He was a mushrik, but he supported him. Similarly, the Prophet ﷺ, when he went to Taif to get some help from there, and he was refused any help, what happened? Before entering Makkah, he needed some protection. And who gave him that protection? A mushrik. A mushrik gave him that protection. Mut'im bin Adi. So we see that there are always exceptions. So you will find perhaps a Jew or a mushrik who is very apologetic towards the Muslims. And on the other hand, a Christian who is very severe, very harsh against the Muslims. That's possible. But over here, what is meant is, generally, overall, you will find this behavior. Now, why are the Yahud intense in their animosity towards the Muslims? Why? Why do you think? It's because of their denial of the Prophet ﷺ. The intensity of their denial. And on the other hand, the mushrikeen, why are they so intense in their animosity towards the Muslims? Because of the shirk that they commit. Because Muslims, what do they believe in? The oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They say all these idols, all these gods, multiple gods, they're wrong. And the mushrikeen, on the other hand, they believe that all these gods are true. So the beliefs, they contradict. They're completely different. So as a result of that, obviously, there is going to be animosity. So, al-Yahud wal-ladina ashraku. And remember, al-ladina ashraku, it doesn't just refer to the mushrikeen of the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Similarly, the Yahud doesn't just refer to those people at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, but overall. وَلَا تَجِدَنَّ أَقْرَبَهُمْ. And you will surely find, you will definitely find, nearest of them. Nearest of who? Nearest of the people. مَوَدَّةً, in friendship. To the believers, لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, who are they? الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّا نَصَارَى. Now the word mawadda is from the root letters waw, dal, dal. Would. And what does that mean? Love. خالص المحبة. And over here, mawadda gives a sense of friendship, affection. That you will find nearest of them in love. Nearest. Meaning nearest compared to others. It doesn't mean that really they love the Muslims, or that really they're very good friends with the Muslims, but the word aqrab has been used. Aqrab is closer compared to others. So أَقْرَبَهُمْ مَوَدَّةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّا نَصَارَى. Now why are they close to the Muslims in friendship, in affection? What's the reason behind that? ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ مِنْهُمْ. That is because indeed from among them, from among who? From among the Nasara, there are qissisin. There are priests. And there are also وَرُهْبَانًا. And there are monks. وَأَنَّهُمْ لَا يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ. And because they are not arrogant. 3 reasons are mentioned over here. And more reasons are mentioned in the following ayat. Over here 3 are mentioned. What are they? That first of all, because among them there are qissisin. Who are qissisin? Qissisin is a plural of qissun. Qaf sin. Or qissis. Qaf sin yasin. Qis or qissis. And it's from the root letters qaf sin sin. Qassa is basically to strive and search for something. What does qassa mean? To strive and search for something, to be inquisitive. And basically it gives a sense of searching for something by night, meaning at night time. And only when you're very concerned about something, only when you want something really badly, will you go and try to get it even at night time. For example, people who work at night, who have night shifts. You wonder sometimes, how do they work? Like, why do they go for that option? It's because they really need that money. They really want it. So therefore, they will even sacrifice their sleep. They will sacrifice their bed. Why? So that they can get the money. So when a person searches for something by night, it shows how badly they want it. Qusus, from the same root letters, is used for the owner of camels who doesn't separate from his camels. And he likes his camels so much, he's so protective about his camels that he doesn't separate from them. He doesn't leave them even for a moment. You know, for instance, some children, they love their pets. You will always find their pet with them. Always. And when they're going to school even, they don't want to leave their pet at home. Children who love their animals, what happens? Their pets, they don't leave them. Similarly, a shepherd who has camels, and those camels are very dear to him, he will not leave them at all. And because he has spent so much time with his camels, he will be a very good herdsman. He will be a very good shepherd. So qis is used literally for a very good herdsman. It is to pasture cleverly. And as a term, qis or qisis is used for a Christian priest. Who is it used for? A Christian priest. Because a priest also, what does he do? He's supposed to look after his flock, to not leave them, to take care of them, to guide them, to lead them, to advise them. So, qisisin refers to the Christian scholars, Christian priests. And remember that with ilm, with knowledge, there is always this element of fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fear of God. Even if a person is non-Muslim, if he has knowledge, he will have fear of God, whichever God that he believes in, whoever that he believes in. So the reason why they're nice towards the Muslims is because there are people among them who are priests. And priesthood is something that is encouraged in their religion. You will see people who will leave their work, who will leave their studies, who will leave their families, and they will go dedicate their year or 2 or 3 years or 4 years, however long, and they will dedicate that time to what? Learning, studying. So because they are not that attached to the world, they're not that greedy, they're not that attached to the world, this is why they have some fear of God. And because of this fear of God, they are compassionate towards people, even if they differ with them in their religion. On the other hand, we see that the Yahud and the Mushrikeen, what is lacking in them is the fear of God, which is why they don't care about people. They don't have compassion for people. Generally, I'm not talking about individuals. So first of all, it's because they have qissisin, and secondly, وَرُهْبَانًا. Ruhban is a plural of rahib. And rahib is from the root letters rahaba. Rahba is used for fear, but it is such fear that stays with a person in his heart for a very long time. So basically, it is the constant state of fear that a person is in. For example, if a person is scared of something, for, let's say, each time he sees the lizard, he gets scared. Only for that moment. The lizard is out of sight, out of mind, no fear. But another is that a person becomes paranoid. What if a lizard comes from here, and what if it comes from there? So this is when a person is constantly in the state of fear. This is rahba. When a person is constantly in the state of fear. And it is also said that rahba is such a state of fear in which a person becomes very careful, very alert. For instance, people who are scared of bears or they're scared of wild animals, if they go to a forest, if they go to a park, even in their trees, they'll become very scared. They will look everywhere. Is there a bear? Is there a bear? They'll be very alert, very conscious, very worried, very concerned. So this is the type of fear that rahba is. And rahib, which is the singular of the word ruhban, rahib, is used for a monk, a worshipper. Why is he called rahib? Because he is so scared of God, he's so scared of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that he separates himself, he cuts off from all worldly activities and engages in dhikr and fikr. Meaning he is constantly worshipping and he is constantly reflecting on what? On the creation, on the scripture, on the commands, etc., etc. And what is it that has led him to leaving everything of this world and living alone or going to a monastery and just worshipping God over there? What is it? It's that constant state of fear. And even over there, he is in a constant state of fear of God. So, because they have qissīsīn and because they have ruhban, this is why they're closest to the Muslims in affection. So, qissīsīn refers to the scholars, and ruhban refers to the ubbad, the devout worshippers. Devout worshippers from among them. وَأَنَّهُمْ, third reason, and because indeed they لَا يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ, they're not arrogant. From what? From accepting the truth. They're not arrogant from accepting the truth when the truth becomes clear to them. What do we learn from this ayah? First of all, we learn about the fact that in general, Jews and polytheists are severe in their enmity to the Muslims, and in general, the Christians are nearest to the Muslims in affection. And we see that the Prophet ﷺ, he came in contact with the Jews and the Mushrikeen. And both of these groups, what did they do? They plotted and planned against him. But on the other hand, when the Muslims migrated to Abyssinia, what happened over there? Najashi, what did he do? Did he turn the Muslims back? He turned them away? He sent them back home? Did he persecute them? Did he not give them any religious freedom? No. He was very open to them. Very open to them. When the Prophet ﷺ dealt with the leaders of the Jews, each time they would deceive. Each time they would treacherous. He made the treaty with the Mushrikeen, they broke it. The treaty of Hudaybiyah. But the Prophet ﷺ received a much better response from Najashi, from Heraclius. So, from the different Christian kings, he received a much better response. Secondly, we learn from this ayah that the enmity that the Yahud and the Mushrikeen have towards the Muslims, this enmity is manifest, meaning they express it. Because the word that has been used over here is adawa. Adawa. They express it, they show it. They verbalize it. They show it through their actions, they show it through their looks. And we see that some people, if they have enmity in their heart, they will keep it in their heart. But other people, they will show it. So this is the type of enmity that they have for the Muslims. We also learn from this ayah that non-Muslims, they vary in their enmity towards the Muslims. Because the word ashad, what does it show? What does it show? That they are most intense. So just because a person is a non-Muslim, don't think he's your enemy. Don't think he's your greatest enemy. Just because he's a non-Muslim. Why? Because people differ in their love and hate. So just because a person is a non-Muslim, don't think that he's your greatest enemy. Don't generalize. Because the word ashad shows people vary. Then we also learn from this ayah that the reason behind the Nasara being near in affection to the believers is what? First of all, that among them are qissīsīn. And secondly, because among them are ruhban. What does this show? That ilm, knowledge and worship, they benefit a person. Knowledge and worship, they benefit a person. Even if he is a non-Muslim. Even if he is a non-Muslim, what benefits a person? Knowledge and worship. Even if that knowledge is the knowledge of a false religion. Or even if that worship is incorrect worship. But still, knowledge and worship, they soften a person. They make a person humble. وَأَنَّهُمْ لَا يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ. So they make a person humble. They bring humility in a person. You know how sometimes some Muslims say, what's the point of salah when I don't even understand? When I don't have khushu'? But still, it will make you humble. It will make you a better person. It will make you a good person. It will benefit you. even if you don't know what it means. Even if you don't have khushu' in it, still it will benefit you. Because if worship and knowledge can benefit a non-Muslim, then definitely it can benefit a Muslim. We also learn from this ayah that the reason behind acceptance of truth is what? Humility. Because we see over here, وَأَنَّهُمْ لَا يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ. They are not arrogant. So because they are not arrogant, this is why they are open to the truth. They're more tolerant. So humility leads to tolerance. Humility leads to acceptance of truth. And on the other hand, if a person is finding faults in others, and he refuses to accept the truth, then what does it show? That there is arrogance in him. We also see over here that the Yahud and the Mushrikeen, they are arrogant towards the Muslims. Where do we learn that from? Because about the Christians it has been said, لَا يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ. What does it show? That on the other hand, the others are يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ. And we see this very clearly in the Qur'an. For example, about the Mushrikeen, we see that how they were arrogant towards the Muslims. In Surah Al-Furqan, ayah 41, وَإِذَا رَأَوْكَ إِن يَتَّخِذُونَكَ إِلَّا هُزُوًا أَهَذَا الَّذِي بَعَثَ اللَّهُ رَسُولًا. That when they see the Prophet ﷺ, when they see you, they take you not except in ridicule. They mock at you. And they say, is this the one whom Allah has sent as a messenger? What does it show? Pride, arrogance. That they think so lowly of the Prophet ﷺ that they mock at him and they say, is this the only person who was left? Is this the person whom Allah chose as a messenger? So what does it show? The arrogance that they have towards the Muslims. Similarly, we learn in Surah Al-Zukhruf, ayah 31, وَقَالُوا لَوْلَا نُزِّلَ هَذَا الْقُرْآنُ عَلَى رَجُلٍ مِّنَ الْقَرْيَتَيْنِ عَظِيمٍ. And they said, why was this Qur'an not sent down upon a great man from one of these two cities? Meaning from Makkah or Taif. A great man. Why Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He's not a great man. What does it show? Their arrogance towards the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Similarly, the Yahud, what was their arrogance? That they would also mock at the ayat of the Qur'an. They would say, Yadullahi maghlula. Inna Allaha faqirun. So they would mock at the ayat of Allah, they would mock at the Qur'an, they would mock at the Muslims. What does that show? Their arrogance towards the Muslims. And even generally we see that arrogance towards the Prophet of Allah, towards the truth, that when they were told to enter the city, what did they say? اذهب أنت وربك فقاتلا إنها هنا قاعدون. You go and your Lord, both of you go fight. We're just sitting right here, we're not moving. What does it show? Extreme arrogance. And on the other hand, the Christians, you will find that they are more humble towards one another, towards the people in general, and also towards the Muslims.